Good day, everybody. This is a very, very big change concerning our kitchen in the camper, and it's something that it had to be tested out quite a bit before I could actually say it, because what I said before about the refrigerator, the science was good, but the actual what we did was wrong. And I'm going to be explaining several things today, and you're going to notice several changes. First off, you will notice that the refrigerator is now to the right of the kitchen instead of to the left, and this time it's vertical instead of horizontal. Well, the first thing that I want everybody to notice is if you take a look at the kitchen, it has changed because, if I have this right, I do, the propane stove had an issue and we basically had to get rid of it. Now we use an electric hot plate, and there's a theory behind the hot plate that a lot of people just don't know about. And that's the fact that we have our camper running off of one 12-volt battery. Well, the thing is, when it comes to the math that it takes to put enough power to this hot plate to make it work, you have to understand the math to find out what was going on. And what I mean by that is we would turn the hot plate on, and it had a variable adjustment on it, and you would get up to a point and it would trip the inverter. People would say, well, it's because your inverter is too small. Well, the thing is, it wasn't that the inverter was too small, because it's a 4,000 watt inverter. This thing doesn't use 4,000 watts. The problem that was going on was the fact that the power going to the inverter was too small. It couldn't create enough electricity to do what it needed to do. What we ended up doing was hooking the truck up directly to the battery and starting the truck to get enough voltage for this guy to go to full heat. And although people would say that's a lot of gas, literally no. When we get the hot plate heated up to a point that it trips, it already has the water almost boiling. So when we hook up the truck and restart it, it'll take it to boiling in less than 5 minutes. And it takes it less than 10 minutes to boil water and stuff like that. In essence, you're running the truck for about 15 minutes. That's less than a cup of gas, which that is real easy to deal with. The other picture I wanted to show there was the water. Now, the water is what I showed in the other videos on this pump, and apparently I need to move this up just a hair. There you go. On this pump, you have a button on the top of it. You tap that button, it'll pulse out some water right quick. I showed that on another video. You push down on that button, it locks in, and it'll run water for 1 minute. The thing is, I also have a coffee maker, so I do 2 presses of this and I'll have exactly enough water for that coffee maker. So this guy works out really well. When it comes to the water to this guy, you get away from that and you go to this right here. This is a Life straw. What you do is, supposedly, you pop this end here off, you put it in the lake, and then you suck water from this end right into your mouth. It is, in fact, pure, clean water, and it is capable of doing 1,000 gallons of water. Well, if you take that, and I'm going to be jumbling these for a second. Oops, wrong way. There we go. When I showed you the stack up, let me get back to it. they were arranged a minute ago. Okay, when I take you to a picture of the stack up, disregard any of this right now, but you see this orange bucket down here. This orange bucket has that filter in it with a hose, and that gives you 5 gallons of water, and that hose connects directly to that. You turn that on, you get 5 gallons of water, filtered water, to go right into your setup. That one filter is capable of doing 1,000 gallons of water. Those things are only, I think, $7 a piece from Amazon. So from Amazon, I have 1,000 gallons of water that I can pump into a pot and then use on the stove. And you'll also notice from that picture, getting them all scrambled again, that you have a lot more space on that kitchen to, this isn't the kitchen, this is the cooking area. The kitchen is when you open it up. And I showed another video on that because there is a kitchen sink under it that you take this water pump, you take it loose, open up the lid, and then set it back down, and now it fills the sink. It's a very portable water pump. But trying to stay on track, you have this, the air conditioner we had, this is it. Now, the thing about this air conditioner is this air conditioner is just a simple small thermos, a bungee cord to hold the lid on. You can take a citrus jug, fill it with water. You cut a hole in the top just big enough for a fan to sit on. That's what's going on here. The fan is blowing down onto that solid block of ice because you froze it, and blowing cold air out these holes. And I can tell you right now that it got up, I tested this one way yesterday, and the temperature outside was racing towards 90 degrees, and this room stayed about 70. That's not bad for that size of a unit. That is our quickie air conditioning is what that is. This is the bucket that holds that water, and it holds up the refrigerator that we have. Now, this refrigerator, we tried the previous refrigerator setup. We had 2 boxes of cereal or 2 cereal boxes that had ice cubes in them. Laid the thing horizontal, put the food underneath the ice cubes, just like I told everybody. And the ice had the water had completely drained out of those boxes inside of 4 hours. To me, that's terrible. There's no way you can maintain cold food for just 3 hours. That, to me, is unacceptable. However, if you take those citrus bottles and fill them up and freeze them, they literally become ice cartridges. You take them and you slide them in with the cooler that you saw, and they, I've already proven it, can last up to 2 days. And if you have 2 more at the ready, what you do is halfway through the next day, pull those out, put the new ones in, take the others and stick them in your freezer. They'll fit in your freezer. And refreeze them. Don't even bother opening them. And if you end up going to the lake and you actually get stuck there for an extra day, simply take them out and buy you a bag of ice, and take the bag of ice and stick it up there, or take it and stuff it in those guys. Don't open the bag of ice. Just stuff it in there. And that ice will allow cold air to go back down onto anything you have in there. If you've got a big bag of ice, stuff these guys and stick them back in there. Your temperature will still stay. The thing about refrigerators and stuff like that is the fact that a refrigerator is not looking to be 32 degrees. A refrigerator is looking to be just above freezing, or 50 degrees is acceptable. So these guys here, the food that you saw in there, I think it's right here. Yeah, the food that you saw in it. Oh, let's do it like this. There you go. This guy is stuffed with food. I'm not worried about some people would say, man, this is way too dirty to be using as a cooler. Thing is, nothing you have will ever touch that, ever. I will wash it, don't worry about it, but it has been used a lot. And it's because it's been used that it looks like that. But everything in there is plastic. Nothing is going to get to anything that I eat. I'm not that worried about it. But everything in there, as you can tell by looking at just this wall right here, is absolutely cold. It was put in there noon yesterday, and today that's what it looks like. It is cold in there. This area right here that starts from the ice and goes down, you could list it as either your freezer compartment. In other words, it doesn't freeze. Take that word away. You can either slide packs of meat back in there, or you can put sodas in there, which is what I did. I put 8 sodas in there because the meat was inside the refrigerator itself. It works really well. It maintains it for, like I said, up to 2 days. This right here, this darkness you see, is the actual level of the water that has melted. And remember, that water has a huge block of ice in it. So that water might be 1 cup of water, and that was being in there from noon to about 5 p.m. So that is doing exceptionally well for being a refrigerator. And I changed it out today to 2 new cartridges of ice, and that thing will last all day into tomorrow. And tomorrow I'll pull those out and stick 2 more in that I am already freezing. This works really good at home, and if you do this out in the field, that's the reason why I said either go to someplace and buy a bag of ice and just stuff it in there, or take your ice and put it inside those. Don't change the concept of anything you've done below those. But this is a really good and functioning refrigerator. So, to end everything, what I have is a nice refrigerator, a nice water storage unit. Now, another thing about this water storage unit, before you put the refrigerator on it, if you have a bunch of drinks, fill this thing up with the water, fill this thing up with lake water. You know, go to the lake dry. And then grab 5 gallons of water out of the lake. Put it under there. If you've got any drinks, throw them in it. That water's probably about 50 to 55 degrees. Throw your filter in it. Have your filter primed to where it gets water up to that spout. And then set the refrigerator and the AC unit on top of it. And what you end up with, there's your AC unit. What you end up with is something like this to the right side of the kitchen. I can't show it because the doors are wide open, but you can see how much room you have over here. It goes all the way back. It's completely clear for meats or sodas, and butts right up against the kitchen. So it can't fall that way. It can't fall this way because it's right up against the camper. It can't fall backward because it's right up against the front of the camper. And with the AC blowing right on you, it's just nice and comfortable. This, you could say, is a proven technique that works quite well. This is my update to cover the fridge, the new cooking setup, and our AC unit that works quite well. I'll talk to you later.